So, this investment seminar is called Boost Your Home Ownership and Wealth Dreams. And we're going to present in a multitude of different ways. So, I have mentioned this before, some of you have heard me say this, wake up your sleepy assets. What do I mean by that? You're going to find out. Okay. Now, question I'm going to ask, what is your most important asset when building wealth? And so could someone give me an answer?
Your home.
Your home? Okay. All right. And now, that's a good answer. Okay. And again, the answer is going to vary depending on the person. However, I'm here to introduce a different concept to you. What's the most important asset when buying or owning a property?
Managing.
Managing? Okay. Anybody else have an answer for that one? Or a different perspective?
Well, for me, it was buying property and having some money left over.
Having money left over. All right.
That's what I wanted.
Okay. Well, I'm here to tell you that those things are important. There's things that are even more important than that. Okay. So first thing that's important, the most important asset when owning property, okay, is the relationship that you forge with all the people in it. Whether you decide to rent it, whether you decide to live with somebody. The relationship you forge, because the asset is a material item. It's like bricks and mortar, so to speak. Okay. Bottom line is, okay, you can leverage that if you leverage it properly, but that asset is not the most important thing, it's the people. Because basically, if you can't maintain a positive relationship with the people that you rent to, then your asset isn't going to perform as well as it could. Does that make sense? Okay, one is, again, not the asset itself, it's the relationships that we forge with the people that utilize the space of the properties that we own. Does that make sense? And what's the other most important asset? And somebody said property management. And what else did you say, Brian? You had an answer there in that one. Brian, do you remember what you said? Fleeting moment. Yeah.
I would just say that for us, it was finding, as you said, the people to work with,
Mm-hmm.
and then achieving what you want in terms of a goal.
Right.
Our goal was to have something left over for ourselves that we could work with to increase our value in the future.
Right, and forcing the appreciation of the asset. Yeah, that makes sense. So all of this, actually, back here, let me go with that. And, okay. Okay, yeah, all of, okay. No, that's not. There we go. Yes. There we go. Okay, that's what we want. Okay, so let's go up to that slide. So it all comes down to this. It comes down to our minds. Our mind is our most important asset. It's intangible, but we need it. If we leverage our mind properly, we can make better decisions. And if we don't make decisions that are in best interest of us and others. So let's not forget that. Always keep that in mind. And don't let the media dictate what we should be doing. So a great website is this website here, Get Smarter About Money. Okay? GetSmarterAboutMoney.ca. And so write that down. The reason that's important, make sure you go to it. Because in order for us to be successful, we have to make sure that whatever we invest in, okay, has to be able to double in value in whatever required period of time that we request. How many people are familiar with the rule of 72? Okay, about half the room, that's good. And for the others, I'm just letting you know that when I was in Florida and I went to multimillionaire school, That's a school there where millionaires taught others, and this was way back in 2005 and 2006. I went twice because I'm a slow learner, okay? And it was unconventional thinking. It's not what they taught us in school. So what did I do? And I realized that there was one common denominator that all those multimillionaires up there on the stage had that the general masses do not. And what was that? They all knew the rule of 72. Now, they created their wealth in different ways. Real estate, stocks, bonds, options, didn't matter. But they all knew the rule of 72. In other words, they didn't keep their money static. They never gave their money to a bank sitting in a checking account earning 0. That makes the bank wealthy, but it doesn't make them wealthy. So understand, there are literally billions of dollars sitting in checking accounts across North America that the banks are using to make a profit. Today you're going to find out some ways where you can actually leverage those funds and start making money for yourselves and your family instead of profiteering the banks, okay? Now, the rule of 72, quite simply, is the numerator is 72, and you divide that by the rate of return on the investment that you're making. So for example, in the checking account, I already told you, so 72 divided by 0, again, and it would take you forever. That money's never going to grow. Yes or yes?
Yes or yes?
Yes, yes.
Let's hear a resounding yes. Okay. I don't need any mic for that. Okay. Now, if the banks are being generous, and let's say you go in a high interest savings account, okay, you're lucky to get paid 1% because they pay it on a tier. And so that little asterisk that you notice when you go to the bank and say, oh, we're paying, 1.15 or 1.85, and you look at the little asterisk and you get your magnifying glass out for balances above 100,000. Okay, but you look at your overall average rate of return, it's not even 1%. But let's say you had 100,000, you put it into the bank, 72 divided by 1. How long is it going to take for that 100,000 to double in value?
72 years.
72 years. How many people in this room, I can see there's some young people in this room, how many people think 72 years is too long to wait to have your money double in value? Great, okay, so you're away, good, awesome, okay. Now, let's say that there's this new bank that comes along, and they say, look, we'll give you double, 2%. 72 divided by 2, how many years is it going to take to double that 100,000? 36 years. For the young folks, is 36 years still too long to wait to double your money?
Yes.
Yeah. I like the fact that more arms are going up, because all of you think you're young, and I think I'm young too. And you're all young. You're as young as you feel, and you're as young as you act. Because without action, nothing happens. Now, hey, speaking about action. Okay. Oh yeah. There we go. Okay. So, rule of 72. So, everybody's got a different number. I found out with the multimillionaires, and the common denominator back in 2005, 2006 was 8%. They never put their money into anything that didn't earn at least 8%. And by the way, that's per year. Rate of return per year, okay? So 72 divided by 8, how long would it take for their money to double? 9 years. And back then, 2005, 2006, for the multimillionaires, that was good for them. So I thought, okay. Now back then, that was good to get that. But guess what? If you can do better than that, let's say you can do 10%, 72 divided by 10. How long is it going to take to double the money?
7.2.
7.2 years. See? You don't need a complex computer or a calculator to calculate that one. You just know it intuitively. Okay? So everything below that, and understand most opportunities out there are far, far less than that. So automatically you can just stop wasting your time looking at all that, because you have to take a look what you're netting. It's not what you pay gross, like on mutual funds or something like that. It's what does it get net. Always look at the net. Because the net is what you take to your account. Okay? Now, how many people have heard of Robert Kiyosaki? Good. Robert Kiyosaki is brilliant, okay? And changed my life when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Cash Flow Quadrant, plus a number of others, okay? But he said one thing that really upset me when I read the book. Your house is not an asset. Now, I had conventional thinking my house is an asset because everyone dreams of their own home. However, now I've learned your house can be an asset if you leverage it right, okay? And savers are losers, okay? And you're gonna learn today how you can leverage your assets, your home, principal residence, better than conventional thinking dictates. Secondly, savers are losers, okay? Okay. Savers are losers in the sense that since 1971, what happened in 1971?
It was taking off the gold standard.
That's right. That's exactly what
The
happened.
gold standard.
Go ahead. Share with us, Sebastian.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I know.
Well,
Really.
Nixon took the
Yeah.
U.S. off the gold standard. Why was that a pivotal point?
Because it wasn't tied to gold, money could all of a sudden be printed endlessly.
And what happened to inflation?
It increased
It
dramatically.
skyrocketed,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So again, that little change, for most people, they thought, okay, so the U.S. is off the gold standard. What difference does it make? Basically, money became a printing press for Nixon, okay? Because he wanted to finance his agenda, which was the Vietnam War. How well did that not go for the U.S.?
International debt.
Yeah, and debt just escalated. Now, understand, these have impacts. You're thinking, okay, I'm Canadian, what does that have to do with me? Everything, okay? Because here's what happens. In the U.S. has more than 10 times the economy of Canada. What happens in the U.S. is they get a cold and we catch an pneumonia. Understand the impacts here of the economy here. We cannot ignore that, okay? So if you were trying to save your money to buy a house back in 1971, up to 71, you were really smart to save, okay? But after 71, you needed to learn how to leverage. In other words, get that money to grow. Don't keep it sitting under your mattress or under your pillow. It's not going to grow. That is just called shrinking thinking. Don't do that. Big, big mistake, okay? And the rich do not work for dollars. They don't. Okay? They work for freedom. Because anytime you're working for somebody, okay, you may have a great job, but understand you are trading your time for money. Okay? And how many hours does the average person work per year? It's 2,000 hours. That's 40 hours a week times 50 times 50 weeks, and a couple of weeks off for vacation, good behavior, whatever you call it. Okay? It's exciting, and people want to live their lives vicariously for people that are more successful than they are. Okay? I mean, let's think about it. When do we go watch amateurs? We go to watch amateurs when there are children or our friends. That's when we go to watch amateurs. Okay? Because we love them. However, okay, we go to watch the best, not because we love them. Many of us have a love-hate relationships with certain athletes and certain celebrities. We go to watch their movies or we go to watch their events. Why? Because they're the best. And we want to see what it's like to be the best. It's exciting. It's thrilling. Well, guess what? It's the same thing in the investment arena. When we learn from the best and we learn what they do, we want to be able to leverage that. It's a lot more fun. Okay? How do you know when you won when you invest? What needs to happen? Go ahead, Sebastian.
You're watching a movie and you see money coming in.
When you see the money come in.
Yeah.
Okay,
And you're
good.
sleeping and you wake up the next day and you see money coming in.
Oh, so you're talking about passive income.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. How many people know that passive income happens even when you're sleeping? Great. How many people love that idea? Okay. And for the people that didn't put up their hand, you don't love the idea? Oh, now I see the hands going up. You do love the idea. Okay? Because guess what? That's a lot better than active income. Okay? Now, some people will be very technical. They'll say, oh, you know, we made a profit when here's a certain rate of return. I told you before, everyone should have a line, okay, a baseline. Baseline for your return on investment per year percentage. Back in 2005, 2006, it was 8%. All of you should have a baseline. If you don't have a baseline, any path will get you there. So you have focus, okay? What's ROIT? I'll share that with you later. What's internal rate of return? Just a more complex thing of saying what's rate of return on investment based on time frequency. Capital gains is important to have a capital gain. What's the difference with capital gain? It's the uplift based on what the money you put in, your money put in, and how much did it grow? Or total profit, maybe you've got to figure that way. Or tax advantage. Understand all that other stuff, all these other things are just distractions. Don't get distracted. Just focus on the one thing. You can be an active investor, you can be passive income. An active investor understands this. You're still trading your time for money. How much fun isn't it to be a property manager, Carson?
It's not very fun,
Why is that?
because everyone hates you.
They're not sharing the love? You did get one hug in the parking lot,
That's true.
but one out of hundreds that did not, right? Exactly, good. So having positive monthly or annual cash flow, maybe that's important to you. I'm telling you, it should be, okay? Now, some people are interested, what about guaranteed security of principal? Well, guess what? If you can have something that's guaranteed versus not guaranteed, which one's better for you as the investor?
Guaranteed.
Great. What about a guaranteed fixed rate of return versus fluctuating?
Depends what the rate is.
Right, again, it's based on your baseline. Providing you hit your baseline and it's guaranteed fixed rate of return, then that lets you sleep better at night, yes or no? Yes, okay, all right. What about the term investment? Maybe they say, okay, we can give you guaranteed rate of return, however, we'll pay you in 72 years. Are you excited? Okay, exactly. So the time of the investment, the term of investment matters. And how about as stress-free as possible? Is that important?
Very important.
Yes.
Okay,
Very
exactly, exactly. Or do you want, some people are just prone to focus on toxicity. So they like getting into the wrestling ring with people and collecting their monies that way, okay? If you're one of those people, this isn't the seminar for you, okay? All right. Or how about liquidity? Like, real estate is great, but it's not very liquid. In other words, if you wanted to sell your real estate like today, it had to be sold today, okay? Are you going to get more than the market or less than the market if you were an overly motivated seller?
Way less.
A lot less than the market. Why? Because you're not waiting for the market to fully appreciate the property. So I'm letting you know a secret here. Never become an unduly motivated seller. And what's the great way of making sure you're never an unduly motivated seller? Is always make sure there's enough monthly cash flow coming in on that property or those properties that they always cover all the debts. So that way, they become an asset, unlike what Robert Kiyosaki says when your house is not an asset. He was talking about the single family home where you have no income coming in. But once you turn your family asset home into an income generating vehicle, then guess what? You're not overly motivated. And you will never have to sell for less than market, ever. Okay, that's a way of, it's an insulating factor. Keep that in mind. Okay, so, and again, it's all about freedom in different ways. Okay, so today, learn, network, take action, and I thank you for being here.